Welcome back, everyone. Today we're opening up our source stack on a topic that's, well, it's pretty heavy, but also really important. It's about life under the microscope, basically. Specifically, the emotional cost of growing up online. We're looking at it through the experiences of Millie Bobby Brown, from Stranger Things.
Yeah, we've been digging into a whole collection of recent reports, interviews with her, detailing how she's responded to some really aggressive public scrutiny.
And it wasn't just like general criticism, was it?
No, not at all. These were pretty focused attacks on her looks, her face, even her hair choices, particularly after she went blonde and just started, living her life as an adult.
Right. The sources paint this picture of someone who's 21, hitting huge milestones, big new movie, getting married, adopting a baby.
Amazing things, yeah.
Amazing things. But at the same time, she described the public judgment as just relentless, saying it left her depressed for days and actually crying every single day.
Wow.
Yeah. And she called it what it is, bullying.
That's really the core tension we need to unpack. How does this moment of peak professional success and personal joy just flip into what she calls survival mode? Because public opinion turns nasty.
So that's what we're exploring today. We want to really analyze that transformation and see what universal things are going on here.
Exactly. What does this level of constant observation, this hostility, actually tell us about identity and maybe digital empathy or the lack of it today?
Okay, so let's jump right into that paradox, because it's honestly baffling when you read the sources.
Yeah.
Why are the same people who literally watched her grow up on screen now tearing her down for growing up?
Right.
What did they expect? Did everyone just want her to stay 12 forever, playing 11?
Well, that's where the analysis points, I think.
Yeah.
This idea of the frozen in time syndrome. It's interesting. The public doesn't just admire a celebrity. They fall in love with a very specific version of that person, a fixed snapshot.
The 11 version in her case.
Exactly. Powerful kid, saves the world, slightly androgynous look. And when the real person evolves, gets a new hairstyle, embraces fashion, has a public romance, it kind of clashes with that comfortable, nostalgic image people hold on to.
But there's got to be more to it psychologically, hasn't there? I mean, let's be real. She's profited hugely from her public image. Some critics might argue that makes her fair game for commentary, even if it's harsh.
That's a fair point to raise, but where's the line?
Yeah, how do we separate maybe cruel but perhaps inevitable commentary from actual identity-based bullying?
I think the line gets crossed when it moves from the professional, critiquing her acting in a film, to attacking the personal, her face, her body, how she chooses to express herself. That's different.
Okay.
And there's this element of parasocial interaction. People feel they know her because they've watched her for years. It builds this false sense of intimacy.
Like they have a stake in her life.
Exactly. A
Yeah.
sense of ownership.
Yeah.
So when she changes, it feels almost like a personal betrayal to some people, a betrayal of the character they felt they sort of helped raise by watching.
Which makes just expressing yourself feel like an act of rebellion. It's wild.
Totally. And it leads to her having to make this really powerful, but also honestly quite heartbreaking statement in interviews. I refuse to apologize for growing up.
The fact she even has to say that,
Yeah,
it just shows the immense pressure she's under.
absolutely. Especially for young women in the public eye. When they assert autonomy over their own bodies, their appearance, new hair, tattoos, maybe getting married young, it's often met with suspicion, not acceptance.
Like, how dare you change?
Right. It shows how public judgment can actually inflict identity trauma. You're essentially being punished for not staying in the same static image they created for you.
And the specifics in the source material really bring home the human cost. It's not just abstract negativity.
No, it's concrete.
She's out there promoting a massive film, trying to put on a brave face, smile for the cameras, while reading headlines calling her aged or fake.
Just brutal.
And she mentioned crying while literally getting ready for big events, like the Brit Awards. That detail, crying while preparing to perform happiness, that's just crushing.
It really puts it in perspective. We have to remember, this is someone who started working at 10 years old.
Imagine your entire adolescence playing out with the world, commenting on everything. Your body changing, your smile, your clothes, everything.
It's the ultimate fame paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
You gain this huge platform, but you lose all privacy, all safety to just grow, to figure things out without judgment.
She had to perform being a person for the world before maybe even knowing who that person was for herself.
Exactly. And what the sources really hammer home is that this kind of pressure, it's not just for A-listers anymore.
No, it's trickled down.
Totally. It affects pretty much anyone active on social media. We all live under some version of that social microscope now. You change your job, your look, your relationship status, the scrutiny follows.
Oh, for sure. You post a picture, you feel good about yourself, and then someone pops up in the comments with, "Oh, you've changed."
And it's rarely meant as a compliment, is it?
No, it feels like an accusation, like your current self isn't as good or as real as the version they remember.
It's that pressure, again, to perform a past version of yourself for other people's comfort. We're all kind of curating our growth so it doesn't upset our followers.
It's exhausting.
It is. And the celebrity example just blows up the scale of it. The lack of digital empathy in these huge online spaces is stark.
People forget there's a real person there.
Completely. They forget that behind the headlines, behind the screen, there's a human being having a really rough week, maybe crying every day, like she described.
Okay, but here's where the story takes a turn, right? From the pain towards something else. And this is where the sources get really insightful, I think.
Yeah, there's this definite turning point in her thinking, a shift towards resilience that's quite profound.
What was it?
It was this realization, basically, that she couldn't silence everyone. Like, realistically, you can't shut down 500 million opinions online, fighting all that noise. It's a losing battle.
So what does she do?
She pivoted strategically. She decided to stop playing defense and start thinking about how she could influence how young girls, and probably boys too, see themselves.
Ah.
So the goal shifted. It wasn't about fighting the negative messages anymore. It was about redefining the message she wanted to put out there.
Wow. That's incredibly mature for someone who's only 21.
Isn't it? It's not about pretending the hurt isn't real. It's acknowledging it, feeling it, but then using that very public platform, the one causing the pain, to try and build something positive for others.
Using it for empowerment. That's like critical thinking in the middle of total chaos.
And it seems this kind of intellectual shift sometimes comes with, needing some real grounding too. She shared that advice she got from her friend Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Well, it was pretty blunt, basically.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Sometimes you just need that, right?
Absolutely. It shows the balance. On one hand, this deep strategic thinking about changing cycles. On the other hand, sometimes you just need that raw, blunt self-care advice to just block out the noise.
It's not always philosophical, deep thoughts. Sometimes resilience is just setting a hard boundary.
Exactly. And it leads to her ultimate realization, which I think is key for anyone navigating online life. I can't control the world, but I can control how I show up in it.
That feels like the core lesson.
It really is. It's about choosing your own posture, your focus, finding your values outside of what everyone else thinks or validates.
That's such a powerful distinction. You know, our generation, many of us grew up online before we really figured out our self-worth offline. And it feels like people like her are now trying to actively fix that cycle, or at least address it. When she says, "I refuse to make myself smaller," that feels like healing happening out loud in public.
Yeah, self-acceptance in real time. And that fight for authenticity, that's something pretty much everyone faces daily online, just on a smaller scale.
So true.
And that really brings us to the universal takeaway from these sources, doesn't it? Her very specific, very public pain helps us understand this general mechanism of digital ownership and the real psychological costs of trying to manage your identity online.
So thinking about the listener now, what does this analysis mean for you navigating your own online world, your own social feeds?
I think it means we really need to remember the human impact behind the screen. The next time you're scrolling and you see some negative headline, or maybe a photo designed to make you judge someone's change, just pause.
Pause before clicking, before commenting, before sharing.
Exactly. Pause before participating. We need to recognize the emotional toll of just being constantly watched, constantly judged. And we can actively choose not to add to that digital exhaustion that's affecting so many people, famous or not.
That really is the key takeaway, isn't it? You don't have to stay frozen in time for people to accept you or love you. Embrace your own growth, your changes.
Yeah, refuse to let others own your narrative. Your identity is yours.
Absolutely. Well, that feels like a good place to pause for today. Next time, we're actually setting the stage for something related and just as crucial.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to unpack how the rise of social media filters, AI image stuff, how that might be fundamentally messing with our mental health and our whole perception of reality.
Oh, that sounds intense. Definitely relevant.
It's going to be a big one, I think. Should make us question a lot of what we see online.
Looking forward to it. You won't want to miss that discussion.
For sure. But until then, take care of yourselves, value what you see in your own mirror, And as always,
Stay real, stay kind.